night. The unique and sometimes controversial performer was about a half-hour late in getting on stage, but the sold-out crowd at the Odd didn't seem to mind. They apparently got what they came for. He's got, huh?
From what I understand, the hottest rock star in the business today, right?
You know, that's funny. He hasn't had $1 of my money, so he's doing it without me, I'll tell you.
And I don't think my mother would approve if my sister brought him home.
No?
No, I don't think so.
Bowie knows how to sell records and draw a crowd. Robin Leach has this report from Philadelphia.
It's been 5 years since David Bowie last toured, and when he brought his Serious Moonlight tour to the Spectrum in Philadelphia for the second date of his American tour, the sellout crowd proved that he's an even bigger phenomenon today than ever before.
Do you think the phenomenal success of the tour marks the rebirth of Bowie fever?
No, I don't think that, but I think it's just a Bowie acceptance now, which is quite gratifying after all these years.
Bowie played to sold-out houses throughout Europe, and in some cities even outsold the record-breaking Rolling Stones tour of 2 years ago.
I think, in terms of Nick and myself, that we are entertaining. Can't think of a more complicated or sophisticated word, really.
Robin Leach in Philadelphia for Entertainment Tonight.
Here are some top stories from the Entertainment Wire. David Bowie's Syracuse, New York concert scheduled for Saturday has been postponed until September because part of the elaborate stage equipment did not arrive from Europe.
Bowie's been at the vanguard of popular music for 10 years now, but never has he been so popular. His current world tour is expected to gross $50 million. He earned some of that last night and more again tonight in Toronto. Almost 100,000 people will see 2 shows. Last night, the crush in front of the stage and the heat produced a few fainting spells. And there are those who swooned when the man himself appeared. While David Bowie is very much a performer for the 1980s, he owes a large debt to some fellow Englishmen who surfaced 20 years ago. They were, of course, the Beatles.
In Buffalo, David Bowie arrived in town this afternoon. He'll be performing tonight at the Odd. Bowie is in the middle of a North American concert tour, and he's been selling out consistently, but tonight's show still has a few thousand seats left.
He can put 100,000 people into Exhibition Stadium over 2 shows.
Right here.
It was a show many people had waited 5 years for, as this was the first appearance Bowie has made here in that time. Temperatures at 9:30 Saturday were still uncomfortably warm, and even a dousing with water didn't keep those close to the stage from succumbing to the heat. But when the Thin White Millionaire, as he's now being called, hit the stage, the wait and discomfort were suddenly worthwhile. There's a good chance Bowie's tour could be the most financially successful in rock and roll history. At the S Festival in Los Angeles, he was paid more than $1 million for one show. In Europe, 200,000-seat venues sell out in hours. The Toronto shows took in some $2 million. Estimates of the entire tour's earnings reach as high as $50 million. And that is surprising people in the Bowie camp. His guitarist, Carlos Alomar.
See, we had played a lot of the concert halls that we are now playing, but not to capacity and beyond that, and then having to add additional dates because of the you know, the ticket sales and everything, and not being able to satisfy it even when you add additional dates. So basically, it has been an overwhelming type of situation, but it's been gratifying to be able to know that these people really are pleased by what you do and support you.
Tacoma Dome. The David Bowie concert should help to answer a question important to the Dome's financial future. Now, does it sound like a concert hall, or has some have accused the Kingdome of sounding like a concrete echo chamber? Brian Wood was at tonight's concert, and he has some answers for us now in a live report. Brian?
Right now, John, David Bowie is still on stage. He'll probably be on there for about another 45 minutes. It'll go until about midnight. So far, he's dazzled the nearly 29,000 people here with some real old stuff way back to Ziggy Stardust and some of his new stuff off his Serious Moonlight tour. That's 1983 tour. The sound, well, the tape that we're going to show you doesn't really do it justice, but the crowd, they seem to love it.
I think it's a little crowded. It's a little crowded, but we're waiting for Bowie.
Okay. What about you? First concert at the Tacoma Dome. How does it sound?
Oh, it sounds loud. And it's so crowded, I think I'm going to get squished. I love it.
Why?
Better acoustics here.
How is it compared to the Kingdome?
I didn't like the Kingdome at all. This is much smaller and easier to get along in.
To be honest, though, there was an echo in the background. It doesn't sound quite as good as the Coliseum, but it does sound better than the Kingdome. Police report very few problems tonight. There were a couple of fights, but as one officer told me, he can't wait for the next one. He won't have to wait very long. The Tacoma Dome hosts Journey this month, and then September 1st, a real popular band lately, The Police. Don't forget, for any of these concerts, including tonight and for any ones in the future, Washington State Patrol is doing some serious patrolling between Seattle and Tacoma on I-5. John?
Okay, Brian, thanks for the report, and take it easy coming home.
You bet.
I don't think I sing. It's a pity they don't have me sing. I was hoping that I could sing with David Bowie tonight, The Secret Life of Arabia, but I heard he doesn't have it in his program anymore, so I might as well go for Ziggy Plays Guitar. But, you know, I relax. It was just an idea. I'm sure that I'm going to sing a song with David Bowie one day.
I'm sure it would be terrific if you did.
Yeah.
This is the first time you played in the United States in better than 5 years. What are your fears for tonight's show?
Well, it's kind of like going on a blind date and then a guy coming back and saying she's really beautiful.
You're that excited about it?
Very, yeah.
What was it about the rock and roll stage performance?
Do you want this one?
Brought you back to the concert stage.
Don't push me. It's not working in 5 years. I mean, you know, it's sort of, I like doing it.
We're glad to have you back, David.
Thank you. No, I have an appointment.
What does your son think of all this?
He's seen the show 3 times.
What's up, guys?
Now, where do we rest up?
We can go straight up and we can stand here.
It'll be interesting to see if the momentum Bowie created at the US Festival continues through the summer and can call this his year, as The Who did in 1982 and the Rolling Stones the year before. Still to come on the new music, the Thompson Twins, the Kinks, and more. Shots of David Bowie's current tour were among the highlights of a showing of rock photography this week by Toronto's Demo Safari. The Opening at the Gallery Quan drew quite a few familiar faces, including Gil Moore and Mike Levine of Triumph, Bibi Gabor, and Carlos Alomar, who was playing guitar for David Bowie and did all the musical arrangements for his band. This tour could go down in history as the biggest moneymaker of all time. Estimates of gross revenues reach $50 million. Scalpers in England were getting $350 apiece for seats, and at the US Festival in Los Angeles, he grossed $1.5 million. That was our first chance to see this new production, and found that the stage show is different than anything we've seen in the past. This show really seems to be different than Bowie shows that we've seen in the past, with the costumes and everything and the different lighting in the set. It's almost like a little piece of theater.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be a mini play type of thing, which is why the costumes came in and all that stuff. But the planning for it, I mean, that was all on David, and it took a lot. Because when I first saw the set that we're using, he made out of like cellophane and matchbooks. I mean, a mini set of exactly what we have now. So, I mean, as far as things like that, the concept for the whole tour, I mean, it's amazing the way he can think about things like that. And then the costumes, we had no idea about the costumes until about a week before we were getting ready to leave. We had finished rehearsals and everything, and then suddenly they tell us the costumes. I'm just glad I'm not wearing a skirt.
Familiar with you for is producing David Bowie, Let's Dance. I guess the situation was a little different than the Spoons. You're coming to the Spoons, but Bowie came to you. What was he looking for?
That was strange in that David wanted to make a real commercial record. When he first called me, I thought he wanted to have some avant-garde record like Scary Monsters or something like that, something that only my mother would listen to and go, oh, Niall, that's brilliant, that's great. And I was into it. Honestly, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to, for the first time in my life, do a record where I spent, you know, 2 months working on paint can sounds or something really obscure, like Peter Gabriel or something. I just wanted to learn a lot more. What wound up happening is I did, in fact, learn a hell of a lot because David really wanted to be commercial. I mean, he said, look, you know, I want to get a smash. I really do. I want to get a hit record. And it was a little bit shocking to me because I said, wow, you know, David, I mean, let's just make a great record. And if it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, it doesn't. He says, no, that's what I always say. I really want a record that's on the radio and that people buy and that people like and enjoy. And I want to go out to a club and hear my music on you know, over the loudspeakers at a disco or something. And I said, okay, great, let's try it. At first, I thought he was really kidding. I didn't know that he was that serious, so I was all geared up for the morning that he would wake up and say, well, no.